is now.
Well, I've been
The audio aspect.
Oh, that's all right. As long as it's caught me singing Joy Division, I'm good.
Jesus.
Somebody suggested I come in a funeral suit.
Funeral suit, Jesus.
Black tie at Elland Road.
I was getting on the cells.
No, goodbye.
Can't even be able to stop singing that.
The aim is to get it in your head.
Thing is, I love the song. I love Joy Division, so it's killed it for me.
Love or loved?
Loved.
Yeah.
Right.
Turn that far.
Yeah. I know idea. Have a little bit of a chat, maybe about
Anything you want.
options. What Leeds can do. Just try and be sympathetic.
I will, yeah, I will. I can't. Let me get it out. Let me get my laugh out.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to One Leeds. Pensive, thought-provoking weekend, to say the least. There is literally not. There is the one person I wouldn't want to record with today was this guy, but we're here at Elland Road. Shout out to IPM Group UK for getting us here again. And quick shout out as well to all the staff here at Elland Road for getting us here. We do have a new sponsor on the channel as well, which will come in due course. Make sure you stay in tune for that one as well. Could be some exciting opportunities for everyone in the One Leeds and Blades Ramble Turfcast pod.
Let's hope so.
Joe's not here, is he?
Let's hope so.
Joe,
Share the love.
and Joe, Joe's a no-show. So
No show, Joe.
Yeah, so apologies. We might be. Well, he wants us to beam him in, which won't be happening.
No, it won't.
But
You don't know how to do it. Though.
Oh no. Right. Anything you want to say? Do you want to just get it
I
out?
just want to say good morning to everybody on One Leeds. Hope you're all okay. It's interesting that obviously there wasn't a big like before when we recorded at Bramall Lane. You made a big thing of, oh look, we're here at Bramall Lane, and now it's welcome to Elland Road.
Head down.
So
Also, Leeds plays at the weekend actually. Heads down.
for those that aren't aware, Conor made these full arrangements for us to the weekend that you had your first of 4 home games that you'll definitely win, if you remember you saying.
Yeah.
And
the manager said that too.
we had a difficult fixture against Coventry.
Yeah.
Burnley had a tricky tie against Bristol City. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll book Elland Road for the Monday. It should be a really good recording sesh. Well, it is. I'm looking forward to this con. So what do you want to talk about, pal?
What I will say is, Rick, this is your fault. We could have done it last week. It's your fault, mate.
Wow. Shouting out the sponsor.
Yeah. Shouting him out.
Well, that's a smart business move.
No business moves today. It's rants. Yeah. So look, I guess it's been a weekend of turbulence, to say the least, in the Leeds United fan base. But I do have to put a bit of a spin on it. I have to, as a content creator. Am I confident after the weekend? Absolutely not. Has everything taken an absolute nosedive? Certainly. The weekend was very, very good for yourselves and Burnley. 2 very good performances on all fronts. And Leeds came back like we did last year and, quite frankly, bottled it against Swansea, who, harsh words, but Swansea who were much better than us on the day here, which I don't think anyone expected. I think it was a coupon booster for many.
Busted my coupon.
Yeah.
Because I had a double, just in case, a little saver bet.
Just to
Leeds and Burnley double.
Just to make you feel better.
I'll win either way.
Yeah, I sometimes do that, to be fair. Yeah. But yeah, so solutions I wanted to talk about today, tactical adjustments, Daniel Farke. Well, I mean, you heard what he had to say.
Did I?
Yeah, you heard what he had to say. Pre and post, actually, quite interesting comments, maybe just about us being a little bit more aggressive. I highlighted on my conversation as well. I would have liked it if it had been a little bit more surrounded around fun and the jovial element of going into these games. It wasn't. It seemed quite harsh pre-match press conference. The post as well was an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, mate, overall, what would you take on the weekend? A great one for you two, but poor for Leeds.
Okay, yeah. I need to sort of put it in context, really. So, for those of you that aren't aware of the Blades Ramble, I've got a Sheffield United channel, very similar to One Leeds, just not quite on the same scale at the moment, we'll say, but
not yet.
It's so I was talking about enjoying the moment while you're on top. So I am fully aware that this weekend swung in our favour massively. We're now top of the league. Leeds have faltered this weekend.
I think it's something else then.
There's still 21 points to play for, and I know you won't have that at the moment because you're still feeling quite sore after the weekend, but there's still many twists and turns that can come. But I am going to enjoy the moment while we're on top. And I've made that conscious decision because that leaves me vulnerable. You know, I'm not going to come on anybody else's channel and start champions again, ole, ole, because that's not what we're about, is it? You don't do that when there's so many games and so many points left to play for. No one would do that in right mind. So there's not going to be none of that from Blades Ramble today, but I am going to enjoy it. I am happy with where we are. The weekend, look, we went first, Sheffield United, and we were dominant against Coventry. And it's a very good Coventry side.
Cheers, Frank.
I don't, to be honest, I don't think Coventry were poor. I think we made them look poor. I think they've got some really good players, and I'm still confident that they might do us both a favour against Burnley next week. So that might be something for you to hold on to, although they didn't really show much after we went ahead early doors. So they're a really good... That was the fixture. Other than Burnley at Turf Moor, that was the fixture that we were most dreading, I suppose. So we've now put ourselves in a really strong position. That puts us in a great mood. Going into your games, and you both rock up, and I had the choice of which one to watch, and we chose to watch Burnley because we thought that Burnley-Bristol City was going to be... If anybody's going to falter, it'll be Burnley this weekend. Not because Burnley aren't a good side. They're a very good side. We all know that. And they probably haven't got the credit that a lot of people should be giving them this season because they just kept going and going and going. And they won. They won. They went in front. Leeds went in front of it. I'm not going to go through your game. You've done it enough on this channel. But ultimately, Leeds were the ones to drop the points. You asked me about Farke. I think it's been interesting to listen to. It's been very entertaining as well to listen to one Leeds afterwards, and a lot of the Leeds fans. We've got a lot of Leeds fans that come over to Blades Ramble, which you're all welcome and it's appreciated. And we can sort of talk sensibly, can't we? I mean, I know people lose their heads, particularly when it's such an emotional game. But just seeing you lose your head like that, I've seen it before. And that's your fear, isn't it? That you've seen this script before. You came on Blade Ramble last night and you said the same thing. I've seen this movie too many times. Now that's an emotional state that you're in. I'm going to ask you in a minute if you've been able to step back and have a minute. Had Farke had enough time to step back and have a minute when he's saying, I'm 100% confident we'll be in the Premier League? I'm not sure he had. I'm not sure he's had the moment. It screams of pressure. It screams of not coping with the scrutiny and the spotlight. I thought your team looked really nervous. As soon as we knew which way the results were going, we watched the Leeds game, so I got to see at least a good 45 minutes of it. And I thought Swansea were the better side for large portions. Swansea have got nothing to play for, and it were like the pressure had got to Leeds United. The one thing I will say is Mellier's obviously dropped 2 huge clangers, and he's going to take the headlines for that. But there's more players to take into account than Mellier, and that is the thing that I, as a neutral, would come on and say. It's easy to point the finger at him. I love Elland Mellier. Long may he reign in the Leeds United goal. I don't think he's, I think he's more than culpable for a lot of dropped points this season for you. But Joe Rodon gives away a penalty, which could easily give them the lead. Our Tanaka, who's been great for you this season, is heavily involved in a ridiculously misplaced pass that gives away the corner that leads to the second corner being the first Swansea goal. There's loads of different areas you can look at. Farke, I think, takes criticism rightly because he's got somebody like Nonto on the bench who gives him 5 minutes. He seems to change the game every time he comes on. Why aren't you starting Willie Nonto? I don't understand it. I can understand it if you think he's an impact player. Give him 30 minutes to put the game to bed. If that's the worst case scenario looking at it. Ramazani, what's he got to do to get minutes in his legs? I think he's managed his squad quite poorly, and a lot of people will look back now and reflect on January, saying, I know Brownie were keen, saying you should have, last night, saying should have done more in January. Very easy to say that in hindsight. The reasons were good in terms of why you didn't do it in January. We had a chat about it on Ramble last night.
Well, we agreed, didn't we, in January? It was a very much like, yeah, it makes sense why I didn't do anything.
Absolutely right.
More wiggle room in the Prem as well.
You've got a very strong squad at this level. We can't change the narrative on that now just because you've lost.
Exactly.
You've dropped points.
Exactly, yeah.
So I understood the rhetoric around it. I don't think Farke's using the squad. That's the problem.
Yes, that's kind of where I'm at with it a little bit. It's all well and good saying that we should have done this, that, and the other in January. But like you said with Ramazani, I mean, you came here with him and how good he was. It's almost like
he ran the show against us.
Yeah, it's almost like he's the forgotten man. It's like and that is due to the manager. It's due to the manager not implementing him within this squad. The most amount of minutes he's got in a single game is 25 minutes against Preston. That's it. That's it. He's barely played any
crazy.
minutes. So it's, you kind of look back at, even just on Friday night, and there's context to be applied. Obviously, with Sheffield United, there's Sidney Peck in there, there's Chowdhury. You've still got, you're going to rotate when Vinny Souza comes back in, who's going to be a lot stronger. But when you look on a Leeds United standpoint, I think there's a bit of panic in there. I think he wanted a bit of leadership in there when he put Ampadu in. Ampadu, and obviously you'll love this, but he was honking. He was absolutely, he just didn't look fit. He did not look fit, and he just shoved him in there. But I think what I kind of wanted to touch on as well is tactical adjustments. I think the thing with Elland Melee is I'm being kind. I counted 13 goals.
13?
Jim, I'm being kind. Honestly kind. I swear to God, that is kind.
Okay.
30. There's a compilation of all the goals Leeds have conceded. 27. 13 of them I've put down to, and that's me being kind.
So my counter to that is, how many goals have you conceded this season?
27.
27 goals conceded over 39 games. He's not that bad, is he? He's not that bad. I know that you get spotlighted as a goalkeeper when you make an error, and he's made more than the average goalkeeper. And I think
the below average goalkeeper.
Well, maybe so. But surely you look to your defence for that as well, and you look at other.
Would they have confidence in him though?
Maybe not.
Nowhere.
No, I don't think so.
Would you?
No, not at all. But you can't. It's difficult because he's the one that's highlighted and spotlighted for those particular moments. But I also think he's been very good for you last few games. Since the Sheffield United game,
he's been all right, Jim. He's made standard serves. He's made a couple of good serves. Don't get me wrong, but it's when he's now making good serves, it's like, oh my God, wow!
From the Sheffield United game to him saving the penalty last night, everybody's thinking he's great.
Sheffield United, he made a howler and Grove had to clean it on the line as well.
The Sheffield United game is what I'm saying. So
yeah.
From that game until then, it looked like he turned a corner in terms of his confidence. Because let's be right, confidence is a huge thing, which again goes back to the question of, does Farke take him out? Because that kills his confidence, and he may well never come back in. If because he'll sell in it summer probably. If you take him out,
absolutely fine.
I know you're happy with that, but
you had quite a, if you don't mind me saying as well, like you went up with Heckingbottom, and that side it was littered with a lot of talent. Illiman and Jai. Obviously, you had McAtee, players like that, like superstars at championship level. But then also at the back, you had a bit of a solid journeyman keeper in Fotheringham, right?
Yeah.
Fotheringham was all right for you, wasn't he? He wasn't a Michael Cooper. He's not been, a
decent
Dean
championship
Henderson.
keeper.
Decent championship goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Not really mistake-ridden. That's how I look at Caldalo. Just shove him in.
He's
just a fine goalkeeper. There's nothing. I'm not looking at him and thinking he's going to be. And do you know what? I'd actually let him have a mistake. He can have a mistake, because I know in 7 games, if Elland Melee to have 7 games, there's going to be probably 4 or 5 mistakes in there as well, or at least 3 or 4. So I'll let Darlow have a mistake. That's absolutely fine. But and there's a big problem right now. A huge problem right now that he's, and it frustrates me that he's doing it now.
Yeah.
Why now? You have to do it now, don't you? But I don't even think you will.
I'm going to say that was my question. Do you think he'll change it?
No, I think he wants to be proven right. I think he wants to be proven right.
I think he's going to be so stubborn that he potentially falters your automatic promotion push.
Yeah, to almost
stick it to him.
Vindication. Yeah. But I mean, when we're looking at the tactical adjustments specifically, is that almost like a straightforward from a if you are to take put a neutral hat on a little bit? I'll try. Yeah. It feels like with what we've got right now, that's the obvious change in it. Darlow in there, at least one that has the
Nonto in the 10. Nonto in the 10. I know Aronson scored the other night. He hasn't come out of Vinny Souza's pocket. He's been absent ever since we saw him at Bramall Lane. And I don't watch loads of Leeds. Obviously, I keep an eye on your performances and things for content we do together, and you're our close rivals in the league. But Aronson is a glaring weakness. And it's not... the example I will give to you is, we played Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough, and none of us were looking forward to that game. That was seen as, along with Coventry at home, Sheffield Wednesday away, because of who they are and what they wanted to do to us, that was one of the fixtures that we were dreading. And I know Joe were huge on that could be the game that we falter Sheffield United.
Yeah.
He starts Ryan Brewster in the 10 instead of Callum O'Hare, who's been progressive. Look, he started fairly slow, Callum O'Hare, but he's been progressively better all through the season. He's got our most minutes on the pitch. He's been very, very good for us. And Ryan Brewster comes in. What is going on? Ryan Brewster, who, look, we all love him as a character, but as a player, we don't think there's much comparison between Callum O'Hare and Brewster. Particularly Brewster's playing in the 10, which Wilder backs him in. Well, he scores against Sheffield Wednesday, and he scores without being spectacular during the game. So you think, it's vindication for manager. He's got the only goal of the game, but he still hasn't played very well. Fully expect Callum O'Hare to come back in for Coventry.
Effective rotation, isn't it?
Effective rotation, yeah. So you think, smart. We've got away with that one, really, because Brewster is not as good a player as Callum O'Hare. He brings Brewster in for Coventry. Keeps Brewster in, should I say. Callum O'Hare comes off the bench. We're 3-0 up that time.
Yeah.
Brewster goes off the pitch.
Yeah.
Because he's rotating the squad and he's boosting the competition within the squad. What harm does he do by starting Nonto and bringing Aronson on if it's not working?
He's driving him to the ground. He's driving like James, Solomon.
Well,
Aronson.
James has been played out of form because he's just been run into the ground.
Played out of form, exactly. Played out of form when he has got the options. And it's very easy now to just turn around and say, well, January is a misstep. Well, it'd be a misstep if he was using the rotation and those players weren't performing for a long period of time. But, Darlock, there are differences from last season. I know you've kind of touched on this as well. Last season, you're kind of looking at Joe Gelhardt, Charlie Cresswell, with the greatest of respect, McKinstry. Well, obviously, you'll have never heard of him.
Yeah, Stuart, is it?
Yeah, well, there you go.
See.
Football knowledge more than I think. And then, a Matteo Joseph who not graced a first team, game really at that point. So it was very weak. We can now look at it, and he's very lucky, Daniel Farke, to have, as you've just mentioned, a number 10 option. He's got a left wing option if he wants to bring Ramazani on there, and they're gonna have to almost play into form a little bit. And he's got Isaac Schmidt, who played for Switzerland. Sam Byram starts ahead of him. I can't get my head round it, but it's a favourite, isn't it? So there are options there, and I guess if there's a modicum of positivity, it is that for Leeds United, and maybe why. I reckon if we had a much weaker bench, you'd be a bit like, well, here we go. They've lost it here. Mentally, they've kind of gone and they can't switch it around. It'd be easier for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Of course it would. And we had this conversation 2 weeks ago when you were on top and hadn't wobbled too much, that Leeds' mentality could be their vulnerability. And already it's looking like it could. That's a possibility. It's not done by any means. You're effectively a point behind us. With our goal difference, you're effectively a point behind us. So
we're caught by Burnley, aren't we, at the minute?
Yeah, Jesus. But it's 21 points to play for, mate, and we've got to play each other. So somebody's going to drop points along the way. It's not done for Leeds United. But when you've got the squad depth that you have, why not start Nonto and Ramazani on either wing and then bring on Solomon and James if it's not working? Why not give them a week off? Where, in 3 game weeks, why aren't you keeping Dan James? A fresh Dan James has been killing this league, and he's no longer fresh, is he? So he's now playing 80, 90 minutes every single week, and it's not just a shift, is it? He is up and down and up and down, and let's be right.
And he struggled to do it, I think.
Yes.
On Swansea, he looked leggy.
And as you start to concede a little bit of possession and get on the back foot a little bit, people like Jayden Bogle. It's to say I told you so.
Well, I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think
he's a bad player at all. And let's not change it. I'm not sort of hammering home the point that I made. But you were convinced that he was a fantastic, and I still think he's a very good signing for £5 million. You've got him in a last year of his deal, and he'd have been worth much more than that. He's a very, very good defender at this level. But I've told you for some time, you won't see it while you're in possession and you're possession heavy and you're going forward because he's brilliant. Going the other way, he's left wanting. And he's just one of the players that's not been at his best, particularly over the last couple of games. And you're starting to see it now. And he can have a wobble. We've seen it ourselves. He couldn't get in front of George Baldock. God rest his soul, but I fully believe that George Baldock were a much more rounded defender than him. And I still think, particularly if you get promoted, you can't rely on Jayden Bogle as a right back.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I think, you look at the changes as well. Firpo comes back in, obviously.
Yeah.
Couldn't come in. Tanaka's got to start, and I know he wasn't great at the weekend.
Has he though?
Well, he didn't get any sleep, and he was knackered.
Oh, bless him. Did he not get any sleep? Hamza Chowdhury didn't train. With the squad. Came straight back from Bangladesh the day before. Been travelling, however many thousand miles, straight into the team. Had an absolute barnstormer of a game. You can't. He's not looking after them as players. He's not rotating them in the right way. I know Tanaka was rested for that game, if you like, but he's been off it the last few games. So why does he command a place straight back? Why ain't Rothwell and And
I think
Rothwell and Gruev started.
Yeah, Rothwell was probably the better player at the week. I can't argue back to it. They were all. I mean, Tanaka was completely culpable at the weekend for. I mean, the second goal, they skipped past him. He lost the tackle. The first one, he knuckleballs it out when we're under no pressure.
Absolutely right.
So
no player should have a divine right to start, and it's a dangerous situation. You put it that way.
Players, don't you?
Of course you do, but he's dropped Kusema this season. He dropped Callum Aware for Sheffield Wednesday. He's rested Tyrese Campbell. You know, he's Chris Wilder's not been afraid to make those big calls. And at the time, as a fan base, we're saying, what is he doing? Yeah. What is he doing? Yeah. But he knows best. Clearly he knows best because it's still working.
Apart from when he came here, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Mate, well, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Battles and wars, isn't it?
That's it. Well, yeah, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below when it comes to tactical adjustments. I think there's an argument in certain games for Joseph, although now this is the whole rhetoric, though. This is the whole rhetoric now. Joseph's now a crap player. He's he's rubbish, Joseph. He's never really got to it. In certain games, why would you not bring on a number 9? An out-and-out number 9. Yeah. QPR was begging for a tapping in the box. Crosses were coming in. Peru wasn't there. Pat Morris not fit yet, but when is he ever? But, that's Joseph, it's Nonso, it's Schmidt, it's Ramazani. He's got to start utilising, mate. So
there's no point having a really strong squad and not using it, is there?
It's pointless. The whole thing's pointless.
It's all right having I'm not saying you haven't got a great 11, because you have, but then when you're running them into the ground and your subs that have provided you with that depth have got no match fitness, you're struggling, aren't you?
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comment section below. What would you do, everybody? Check out this guy as well. I'm sure you're all affiliated with his channel. Anyway, Blades Ramble.
Blades.
And saying it quietly here. But we'll see in a bit. Cheers.